Hi guys, this is Josh Monday. I'm here from Malulabar Music and I'm going to show you through the Roland gr55. So let's take a look at the gr55 guitar synthesizer. This really is a complete total guitar system because it not only incorporates the guitar synth stuff that you'd expect, which is pianos, strings, brass, all that crazy stuff that's fun to play on a guitar, but it's the first of its kind to incorporate the virtual guitar system of Roland's as well, which is different pickups, different tunings, alternate tunings, individual string pitch control over 4 octaves, 2 octaves up and 2 octaves down per string, independent of the other, and also, of course, all the amp simulators and great Boss effects. So it's a complete total guitar system. And I'm running direct, I'm not running into a guitar amp here. So firstly, I'm going to show you through the virtual guitar system side of things. Then we'll have a look at the MIDI side, or the synthesizer side of things, and then we'll combine it all together and check out what we can do when we start running it all together. So here, firstly, I'm using a Roland Strat that's got the GK pickup on it. If you're familiar with that, but that's a way just of getting 6 individual pickups out of the guitar, so 1 for each string, and that'll work on any steel string acoustic or electric guitar. But what I'm going to show you firstly, just to give you an idea of what the modelled guitar sounds like, on this first patch I've got, I'm using the expression pedal here to crossfade or mix between the normal pickups on the guitar, which are also plugged through the gr55, and the modelled version of the guitar. So I'm going to turn a Strat into a Strat. Not a very clever trick, but it does demonstrate the difference, or the lack of difference, between a real Strat and the virtual Strat. So when I push back on the heel here, right here, this is the real Strat. Ooh, sound there. And I've just got a tweed amp, a little bit of a tweed driven amp simulator in there, bit of delay, bit of reverb. So that's the real Strat. And push forward on my toe is the modelled Strat. Real Strat, modelled Strat. So there's no quality difference. It's a slight tonal difference as much as plugging in 3 different Strats. They'll all sound different too, but it's no difference in quality, and there's no difference in, people call it tracking, but there's no tracking going on with the virtual guitar system because it's just taking the waveform from the pickup from the string, right? So manipulating that. It's not converting it into MIDI and then trying to trigger a sample, which is what we'll do later on. So there's no latency, no tracking going on with this side of things, the virtual guitar. And I'm just using the buttons that I have on the GK pickup up here to change patches. That's why you won't see me hitting a foot switch. You'll see the patches changing. That's me doing it from the guitar. So here's Les Paul through a Marshall, all simulated. Telecaster through Marshall. Of course, that's rear pickup of a Tele. Let's go, we can also model the front pickup of the Tele. Now, because we've got individual pitch control over each string, we can do simple things like an E flat tuning, that's this. But we can also go right down to a 7-string tuning. So that's every string down 5 semitones with no latency at all. Unlike monophonic, it's monophonic pitch shifting because it's pitch shifting each string individually, whereas normally if you do some pitch shifting on other multi-effects, it can be kind of unusable once you get to 5 semitones down, but this is very, very clear. And that goes for going up as well. If you want to put a capo on the 5th fret, you could wind everything up 5 semitones too. So really handy. Stoling Roans, no surprises for guessing what this is. This is an open G tuning with a Telecaster. We can also do a 12-string tuning as well. So here's a 12-string electric. Now we've gone through a lot of the electrics, and there's a whole lot more in there as well, and all the pickup selections that go with that. But then we go to acoustics. Now that slapping was me hitting just around near the pickups. So it models a virtual sound hole. It thinks it has a sound hole. And with the control pedal, I can assign the control pedal to do pretty much whatever I want. But in this particular patch, I've got it for a 12 string. So it goes from this 6 string to 12. Now that's some of the virtual guitar stuff. There's a heap more, but that's some of it. And we haven't even touched on the guitar synth side of things yet. So here's the guitar synth. So this is MIDI conversion, which means we're converting our notes from our guitar to a MIDI note, which means we can play back a sample like a synth note. So here's Koto. I know you guys have been dying to have a Koto patch for all of your gigs where you use a Koto. Now, because it's all in one box now, we can run any of those sampled sounds through the guitar amps. So say with a blues harp sound, we'd usually have a blues harp sample, but often blues harp players will play through a guitar amp. They'll run through a little guitar amp and distort it. So that's what we can do. We can actually, inside the gr55, we can run it into a guitar amp and distort that sound, and we get this. And it offers a lot of expression because as you play harder, obviously it gets more distorted. Pianos, of course. Organ. Now, talking about tracking, you can hear just how fast this tracks. Sitar. Now I've combined all those things. I've got a DAD-GAD tuning, D-A-D-G-A-D, a tuning on a Les Paul through a small little combo driven amp, sort of vintage type sound, with some strings underneath on the synth side of things, and we can do the well-known riff. There's hundreds of more sounds in there, and oh, that's a cool one. Velocity sensitive synthesizer drums. So if I play soft, it's just guitar. Play hard and you get drums. Splits with sort of double bass in the bottom and a ride cymbal. And guitar in the top. So hundreds of sounds, we could go through those for hours. But lastly, I just want to show you the looper that's on board as well. And we're going to use that by pressing these two foot switches together. Turns on the looper in the top of the screen here. And I'm just going to play through a few different sounds and change the sounds after I create the loop to play different sounds over the top. So I'll start and stop the loop by pressing Control. Here we go, the first loop. Right, first loop done. Change sounds. Put it into overdub mode. And I can solo over the top. guitar. So that's the gr55, guys. Come in and check it out at Mooloolaba Music.